just closing down our most recent map in very close fashion. Both halves going to 3-3, but BDS taking over when it came to overtime. Being able to take 2 rounds back-to-back, not even needing the third one. Let's see if they can continue that trend, or if some of the individuals here on W7M are gonna wake up a little bit more here. So we saw them
getting real personal now.
Yeah, we saw them fading off a bit towards the end of map 2. W7M, though, does get that first ban in, and it is going to be Yana, of course, removed. Flores knocked out next year. It makes sense considering the map. Flores can have quite a bit of impact to knock out instant utility. The rooms overall in this map are a lot smaller. He's got to group that utility a lot closer together, meaning an operator like that can have a heck of a lot more impact. Mira as well has plenty of spots to use the mirror windows, of course, here on this map. So once again, she's quite a common pick to be knocked out, and I would not be surprised if we get Valkyrie once again for the final ban.
Good on you for bringing up the square footage of Oregon, because that really does matter about like about how tight-knit those hallways are and that kind of stuff. It just makes it to where Flores is so much more potent, and he already is an amazing operator, but Oregon is probably his best map. He is so good at breaking up that basement, and BDS wants to be able to lock things down when they get into their defensive half. That just means that BDS is very confident without Flores. They are ready to clear things out, but that also means that we're going to have to see some pretty unique things come out of them for this operator lineup. The first things first that we have to talk about, though, John, because we have not seen this off the entire time because she's been banned out, Dokubi's in the lineup, Dokubi's in the game. Dokubi has so much utility in the current patch of Rainbow Six Siege, folks. She's got a Gon 6 as a secondary, she's got EMP grenade, she's got her Doke call, she's got an EBR as a primary. I mean, she has everything that you could potentially want in an operator, and probably more.
Obviously, again, W7M choosing to, instead of going for that utility ban, they go for the target ban, specifically against CYCLOPS instead, by eliminating the Yana, hopefully preventing as much prowess from coming out from the individuals, which, again, as the analysis desk even discussed, was a big part of how BDS was able to win. Players like CYCLOPS, but more importantly, like in fact, picking up the slack there in the previous map. So if they're able to do the same thing again, we could be looking at that 2-1 lead on the series for BDS.
What a damn nuisance these walls are. See little observation blockers in place. Yeah. JV92 still has one, but both of these are going to make this really difficult to try and hold some very key influential information that is usually extremely easy, guys. We usually just see a drone out on the balcony for Master, and you can look under the door and just watch the rotations over through Trophy, but no longer a thing with that in place.
The rest of BDS here taking a nice slow approach to things to start us off. W7M have quite the spread of their own player count across the map right now. If you haven't already noticed it, of course, from the silhouettes. They are going to spot here as CYCLOPS begins to move in, and of course his teammates sit on drones. Bride spotting it out down there in the inside of a laundry. The procedure up until laundry, of course, is pretty open for the taking right now. But it's KZ from up on top that gets the top stairs angle. CYCLOPS tries to push past what appeared to be an open breach to start things out, but no, gets locked into garage instead. The top-down angle that was already opened up there by W7M allows for KZ to get away with his first kill for free. Like, in fact, tries to play out inside of construction here as well, but backs away arguably with some perfect timing onto that. Hop out again, but thankfully once again we've got our other POV ready to hot swap into, so we'll jump on that real quick for you guys here. We're going to keep casting in the meanwhile. There we go, right back into the game. Down to a 4v3 currently, though, with W7M striking most recently on that kill we got before jumping out of game. It's those top-down angles right now that are being a real menace to BDS. They haven't been able to properly deal with them, although, as you'll see, they finally did trade out, specifically onto KZ. So specifically the issue over here by the main laundry stairs has finally been dealt with.
Mine ready to go.
All quiet after BDS end up losing those 2 bodies. Well, in exchange for KZ, as you said. Carol get taken out on the back end. I think it's a touch easier for BDS as they try to transition through this mid floor. Don't have any means to try and break up any of these hatches anymore, but the hatch is already open, so won't have to worry about that all too much. Limbs is down on his Dokubi calls now, though. Johnny's out of them completely, so gonna make things a little bit more difficult for them as they won't have that immediate info source to be able to try and garner anything away from W7M. They do have a lot of frag grenades, though, and that's where things could get extremely troublesome. It's a nice tag. One. I was about to say tags, but only that single shot getting through there. Fox will take a little bit of damage of his own. This pillar position starting to become a hot commodity, and Renshiro will be the one to deal the death blow. A frag grenade out as a secondary option as he'll drop his way in. They know the swing has to be coming through, and JV92 is there to receive. Lems has some cross angles that he can try and play into, but with only 15 seconds remaining, BDS have got to get something going for themselves. No challenges coming out from W7M. No clue, no hope. Right over the left shoulder there of the Warden. Renshiro will at least be able to get one, make it two rather, as he's able to get it down into the 1 versus 1, but 0 time. Herds is smarter than that. He's just going to sit over inside of Laundry and gather that round. That's a defensive win on Oregon. What else would you expect?
Officer Renshiro there for trying to clutch it out in the final moments. Nearly gets away with it, but unfortunately, that last player over on W7M just plays it smartly. Backs away from the situation and runs the timer out, as unfortunately, those players had to run the timer far too deep just to get to that point in it. And still did not have the capability to shut things down. 1-0 lead now coming in from W7M. You get all nice replays going here. This shows us how Keys is able to spot things out. That's the power of Solus. Catch a player on chems, and you're near enough towards them. It's free intel, and he does it not just once, but twice here. Before finally getting traded out on that other POV we were seeing that player at the bottom of the stairs. JV92 continued to dominate here from the corner. He gets away with 2 of these picks before finally being traded out by Renshiro, who, as we see, nearly gets away with this outright clutch. Both those players actually look like they lined up too, so we get a 2-for-1 on that spray. Just couldn't find the third player in time, unfortunately.
Yes, indeed. We're just waiting on one of the W7M players to get back into the lobby, folks, and once that happens, we'll be jumping back into Oregon. But a successful defense from W7M presented by the early frags there. They were able to garner from BDS, able to at least put themselves into the proper straights going into the later portions of round 1. But what else would you expect except a successful defense when it comes to the basement bomb site of Oregon? So, with JV92 back in, we'll hop back into the game as well. It's going to be Kids Dorm's defense here for W7M. Are we going to bring any obs blockers this time? Doesn't seem like we will. Do have a deployable shield out of Nade, as he will be playing the Warden in a Nitro cell to Fleetpox's name as well. But past that, W7M bringing the usual cast of characters when it comes to this top floor.
Yes, meanwhile, a few changes for them, but they're relatively minor in the grand scope of things. Shega is going to a more comfortable pick of an operator here. He's going to bring the Ashe into the fold, and then, of course, we're going to see the Hamada swapped in, too.
They took away Yana. Now he's reached his final form.
He tried to play the Nomad in the last round. Didn't work out. He's like, all right, that's
Screw that gun.
Bringing the Ashe back. Which Ashe is it, though?
That's true. Is it R4C Ashe or is it G36?
I think he plays R4.
It's G36. It's going to be. He loves that 1.5.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yep.
Bing bong.
Fair enough.
Hey, listen, man. Might have been gone for 6 months.
Meanwhile, though, just running out there.
just goes to show you that literally nothing changes with these players in that long. Because, like, if y'all think I was watching anything, I had way too much stuff going on, bro. I wasn't watching a damn thing. Licky Fact with a nice little grenade there, but the cheeky will mind us.
I love it. Explains what he was doing out there. Okay, cool. I thought he was running out to try and get a kill, but no, he's just chucking out one of the magnets. Nicely done. That'll gobble up one. They don't have a whole lot of extra ones either. Just the extra second one sitting in Licky Fact's pocket. That's a huge amount of utility that goes completely to waste right there. Not even going to be able to pop it open. And there's now a laser gate sitting in the way, too.
All the patience now from BDS, but like, what else are they going to do, really? I mean, you got to find a way around this. Shego's going to hold this angle, but you really should just be seeing the rest of the team working the map around. Renshiro's going to try and come over and influence things over on double window. As soon as he pops this, they now know Akali's on the board. So they're probably going to be avoiding this like the plague unless there is a reason for them to be swinging into that. Just remember that gun is a one-shot, one-kill.
Wow, this setup.
They
got an abandoned ship here, in my opinion.
Yeah, flash in, another one, my disc eats it up. He's going to be able to get him at least. I'm actually really surprised that KZ dipped away from that, but he's probably worried about the other frag grenade coming in because he doesn't know EFAC's positioning.
So fair enough to trade him out there, but he gets away with far too much beforehand. And even just in terms of the utility that was eaten up as well there, the nades, pretty much the full kit out of quite a few of these other players as well. Brady's only got one flash left in the pocket. Drones have been drained out quite heavily as well. They've got 6 remaining, but the players that are actually alive only have 1 to each and every one of them, it looks like right now. So realistically, 3 drones, unless they have a few presets already that could be useful here in the late round.
Well, whatever has happened over on the BR stream is popping off, man. I don't know what the hell is going on, but dude, there's something. Brigaday's got the plant. Renshiro somehow collapses somebody with the secondary SMG, and EFAC, oh well, EFAC is at least able to elongate the round and make this BDS's all day, every day, unless JV92 has something to say about it. He's got the cross for white stairs. Case in Breeday's hand. He's going to start the plant now, stun out, so he won't be able to hear that, but he'll still be able to hear the typing. Has to hold the crosshair. Is he just going to let Breeday plant and go for it? He will indeed. He knows the other one has to be on white stairs, and just remember, there's no real way to ninja things inside of Siege. But you don't need it when you have the EBR, John. You just got to hit somebody twice, and they're pretty much dead.
Dude,
JV92, baby.
Going crazy here in the first rounds. Already at 5-1 as well for JV92. So massive frags being picked up by him, including that big clutch right there to seal the deal on a second round advantage. Another 3-0 could very well be in the cards here for W7M as they're going to look to repeat it for a third map in a row here. That has got to be demoralizing for BDS. But thankfully, with the solace of the fact that they eventually came back and won our second map, despite that deficit, they're probably not going to be too worried about it here. And again, JV92 just showing up right from the beginning of the round. KZ gets away with the other two pickups here as well for the inside of that one. Like you said, a little bit surprising that he backs up there, but he didn't really know when the nade was going to come through, of course, from the Nook, so just didn't want to take a risk on that. Loses his life anyway, and then we fall back on JV92 here, just shutting things down after BDS is able to bully their way into the site. Just no time to establish that post plan, unfortunately. Breeday was locked into the corner. He had to take the duel right from the beginning of it, and his teammate just not in position to support him after that first kill goes through, as he was already preoccupied falling back to white there.
I'm honestly just a tad bit surprised that given the circumstances of time, right? Because they weren't like crazy low on time, like they still had a little bit of you know, stuff left in the tank to be able to do something. That BDS didn't just try and go for the kill, really. They kind of understood the positioning of where JV92 could potentially be, but you know, you trust the process sometimes. This happens a lot in CS too, man, as well. So it's just one of those things where you're like, okay, I play the objective, but sometimes playing the objective allows that rotation that's so very pivotal to the round, and that's what happens right there. He didn't end up crossing across the door frame when we saw the hold from white, and that's all she wrote.
If we saw the planter, or the player that was supporting the planter, actually like swing that instead of go back to white, that probably could have ended up in the hands of BDS. Just some unfortunate timing of plays right there, basically, that ends up working out very heavily into JV92's hands because he gets the separate one.
No shot.
Okay, Renshiro in the meanwhile just lands a winger of a headshot on the JV92. Not sure if he was trying to go for a run out or he just caught him on the timing, but hopefully we get that one on a replay later to get a better view. As either way, that's a nice shot coming in there from Renshiro to start us off.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say
By the
JV.
way, just pointing it out too, Renshiro also kind of going off right now. He's also at 5-1 currently. So
somebody's got to get the frags, man. Because nobody else is. Shaiko as well as EFAC, the two biggest fraggers in this series so far for BDS, both at a goose egg. Not exactly what you want to see out of them going into round 3, but with this pick on a JV92, which I assume he was probably over there putting some cap can traps up, definitely positive boon for them. W7M though, still with a lot left in the tank. We've seen them in these circumstances before, and they can constantly befuddle their opponent.
Potential no respect push going to come in here against the top hold since they have Renshiro on the opposite cross. No one even really here anymore as well from W7M. Just herds. He's way in the back of the attic there. Probably not going to be sticking around for too much longer after that leg shot comes through. Just waiting on the hatch position, trying to get some fadeaway damage. He'll get about half the HP off of a Lem. It's not the worst thing in the world. At least trades out the damage that he sustained from the Cali a few seconds prior. KZ also denies at least one drone, but the problem is they're still losing player count far too quickly here. Nade gets caught out by Shaiko. Shaiko, no respect on the push. That's the problem, though. He hadn't properly investigated these angles. KZ reestablishes the cross from the inside of Kitchen and now brings BDS down a player. Still up by 1, however, so they could afford to take that risk, but they lose a big player in the process. Now it's going to be one of these other guys that need to step up for the entry game.
This is where we get a tiny bit worried for BDS, unless we have Fleepox here, but BDS, when it's come down to these moments up against W7M, it just seemed like W7M have always been one leg above. We'll see if it happens yet again here. Charges down, trying to manipulate the floor and make it to where not a lot of the crossfires are available to W7M. It looks like it's going to be a kitchen offense. EFAC able to take down Fleepox with the shotgun of all things. He's working his way through the kitchen hallway. KZ trying to tag up somebody upstairs, but there are so many potential angles, so many oddities being thrown their way that BDS might finally have the execute that they've been looking for so badly. He sprints into security. A foul move, something that was not exactly written in, not coded, not designed well, and he gets punished for it. Is BDS, the patience from them works swimmingly. W7M finally drop around on this defense.
And a pretty straightforward, slow and methodical map clear from BDS to get the job done as well. They just took it section by section, starting off with the grab on JV92 from the beginning of the round. They already had a 5v4 at the start of it, so they can afford to take extra risks. They can afford to swing things like we saw from CYCLOPS there when he tried to go for the site take a little bit early on. Here's the setup, and indeed, no, I think JV92 might have been leaning into a slight peek there. Just some countered intel from the attack, slaps him down to the ground, or even sees the light of day there. Unfortunate for JV92, given the tear he was on prior to round 3 here. Is now immediately denied and unable to contribute to the clutch in those final moments of the round when BDS is given far too much map control in the first minute or two and just slowly surrounds the site. Even inside of that security push, for example, the player, I believe it was KZ, on the inside of the kitchen, rotates directly into the waiting arms of 2 members of BDS, so it just fell out of their control far too quickly. And unfortunately, by the end of it, they did not stand a chance due to the lack of control that the defenders themselves had.
No shot.
Oh, he's here.
No frickin' shot, man.
Problem is the drone that spotted him. They know he's here. So.
I mean, listen, they were gonna know no matter what, man. That's the king right there, stomping around the map. And also, the recoil, or rather the report from his LMG here is probably one of the most unique sounds in the game. When you hear that, it's like hearing Glaz's rifle. You're like, oh, that's a Glaz. So
he is going to need to try and stay alive, though, given the fact oh man.
Sorry,
like the
my bad.
tries to go for another incredible timing play. Just a bit off the mark, unfortunately, as that player's backed up a bit too far. But back to what I was saying, there's no smoke currently, nor is there a Goyo on this defensive lineup. So KZ taking a bit of a risk by standing out that far, as they are going to need all those incendiaries for the usual delay utility here in the final, like 30, 40 seconds.
He is the danger, Skylar, all right?
Yes, yeah.
He is the one who knocks.
So they're going to create this little bit of a construction bunker for themselves to play out of. BDS has responded to that by just pretty much probably going the opposite way, although we are still going to see the E-hatch get open.
The Human Torch. Every day. Which kit does he have on? Is that the Elite? I don't think it is.
Couldn't see it close enough, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
I think it might have been one of the team skins.
No.
It looked like it was orange and black, so I don't know if Fnatic has a skin for him. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, they do. I actually have a Fnatic's skin, at least for the gun.
I can't tell. it's too dark is the problem. So.
Get off the ground, kid! Trying to see what you're wearing. Dude, I actually don't know.
Yeah,
it looks like one of the anime skins. It's got to be from like the last 2 years of esports skins. Because, I mean, like, listen, guys, I do love your skins, but can one of y'all get original? Like,
no, we've had some pretty cool
We've had a
ones.
couple of original ones, but like, bro, it feels like somebody makes like a really cool version of one, and then everybody just copies that one for the next one. And it's like, guys,
there's themes I've noticed we rotate through.
Yeah, like back in the day when Team Secret literally made their own Black Ice skin, I was like, all right, guys, come on. Like, what are we doing here?
We got BDS barreling through the top clear right now, already with a few hatches open to try and work for their downstairs play, and more than likely going to commit to it now. Riyadh starting to work himself downstairs, but immediately you can hear those little mines landing on the ground against grenades from KZ. He's going to burn out at least the inside of Laundry to start things out. 3 more go down after that one to block out the secondary angle. He's got plenty more still in the chamber here. KZ has got delay for days here. He's able to stay alive and, more importantly, maintain the angles necessary to get those incendiaries onto the ground.
Ooh, Shaiko. Lots of damage off onto KZ. Very, very lucky is KZ. Shaiko, he pushes forward and he finds him right around the fire. We're going to have to go to the radio broadcast here, folks. It is a 3 versus 3. Shaiko's still going to be inside of Freezer. We do have one over on the back stairs. It's going to be Renshiro, but EFAC is going to be the first one to get the next kill. JV92 inside of Laundry. He's going to be the lone soul as he picks up EFAC, but he's only got a revolver in his hands. One coming up the Laundry hallway, but he can't get it done as Shaiko will shut him down on the rotation. Whenever the ARX is in his hands, Shaiko's the most deadly one in the server.
BDS continuing to bring things back under their own control, as now we go back to that dead heat yet again. A 2-2 scoreline here. Now in the first half, bringing it back. Seems like they have truly met with even odds against W7M, and it is really anyone's game and series at this point. W7M dropped the ball, but feel it was a close enough affair to go for a reattempt on that same site. We do have a very short little tech pause here, folks, of course, when we work our primary observer back into the game. Shouldn't be more than a few seconds here for us to read the play. Do I think a W7M member is going to take this as an opportunity to quickly reset their client as well? So give us just a second, and then we'll be back in with round number 5, which, as I mentioned previously, is looking like it's going to be another basement defense from W7M unless they change their selection here over the next few seconds. Here's the replays once more, folks. You can see a better look at this execute one final time. Once more, BDS just slowly overwhelming the player count from W7M on the inside of it. Just not enough fire coming back from the defensive side of things. And as well, those more extended positions falling immediately. So the gambit that W7M go for just does not pay off. And drop another very important round, but hopefully a chance for redemption to be shown up pretty much immediately as they go right back towards it here on round number 5. W7M. In the meanwhile, here is also going to move away.
Listen here, sir.
Yeah?
You should call on the ball right now.
What?
Who's taking it? Right now, John. Right now. Who's taking it?
I think we're trending BDS.
We're trending BDS. Are you locking it in?
I'm gonna say like 70-30 BDS right now.
Oh, so you know we can't go percentages. That's not how this works.
Well, that means I'm predicting BDS.
Okay,
I'm just telling you, like, you know, that's how strongly I
Listen, man, I'm from the Midwest. You got to be straightforward. It's a yes or no answer, all right?
If it was a yes, if it's over 50%, then, you know.
All right, asshole, come on. All right, so, and we go here in the second, or rather 5th round, tied 2-2. John's got BDS, and honestly, I have to agree with you. I definitely feel as though we are trending BDS's way. Not that W7M can't bring this back, but for Oregon defenses as of right now, this is not looking hot.
It's like we were very reliant on individuals, it seems, prior to this for W7M. The individuals that were stepping up are no longer there. We do, to be fair, again, we do have other people stepping up to the challenge. Like JV92 is having a knockout game right now, but that's the problem, is it's very like hit or miss on the individual player count right now, and it seems very reliant on those individual players to get things done, so it's kind of swinging hit or miss. It's a bit hard.
Oh, they're swinging something all right. They're swinging that big old bat right into freaking main right now.
Lucky Fact trying to play it out.
God.
All right. W7M are going to shut me up real quick. Herds goes for the big bedroom swing and knocks out Lucky Fact early on here in round 5.
What the hell was that, man? What a moment in Master there. That was so crazy. I'm sure this is going to...
Okay, Herds.
Y'all better stop playing with this man right now. He's going to keep body bagging you, dude. He's going to stack you on top of each other.
Thought he had a fast one there, but nope, the footsteps are too obvious, and Herds just slaps right into him. Knocks him down. Oh, okay, that was easy for Shaiko. That's just
it wasn't even Herds.
Save for KZ. He's got a second one here, too. He knows he's there. You can't just feed him the kills. Shaiko with 2 more on the board. He's up to a 2.0 KD now. That's 6-3 currently, as well as evening out the player count for this round down to a 3v3.
I mean, I was going to make a joke about Herds running out of room to stack him, but it seems like it's Shaiko instead, dude. Oh, my. Very quickly locking down the bodies upstairs. Into the 3v3 we go. Both of these teams have been so dynamic when it comes to moments like this. It's really hard to call on the ball as to who's actually going to win this out. I'm still with you as BDS is more than likely going to take this one.
Okay, so we're trending BDS.
Yes.
We could trend the other direction real quick, too.
Is it cutting back 60-40 now? Or it's 30?
It's active odds being updated here. I'll tell you soon. But
Yeah, we're gonna have to keep your Vegas odds live.
Free day, having to go for the crouch spam here on the hatch, make sure he pops it open. Slow play to build up towards that, but here's going to be the problem. Obviously, this hatch opening will be incredibly telegraphed. He'll be very much alone in this procedure, but he has attracted a lot of attention from W7M. It could end up being a slight overcommitment from players on the back end. However, it does look like BDS are going to go for a full 1-1-1 split. One player pushing the back end, one trying to push Laundry. And obviously, you can see here, Alems trying to work himself in. Taking a little bit of damage, of course, from the incendiaries over here by the freezer side of things, but no one able to find an actual impactful entry just yet to move any one of these 3 positions forward, and that's a big issue now. With just 15 seconds left to go, Alems is still being burned out, but finally, he forges through the fire to get himself another opening kill on this play. JV92 trades it. Free day shuts down number 2, and Alems locks in the 3rd. Beautiful take, and a risky one at that, as they split all 3 of their players up, but all 3 strike true with at least 1 kill to lock down the round.
It goes from bad to worse for W7M on these defensive rounds. This is the most pivotal moment when it comes to Oregon gameplay. You have got to, at a minimum, win your defense is out 4-2. Otherwise, things can get really, really murky very fast. And BDS are looking to take it 4-2 on the offensive side, potentially giving themselves the easiest road to try and traverse going into their defensive half. We'll just have to see. Some fantastic shots from Herds up here. Look at this one right here. That was the one that I just, wow, what tracking right through that paneling there. But then they immediately give it over to Shaiko. So, I mean,
just craters himself, unfortunately, assuming that it would have been safe to rotate back down through Arsenal there. Certainly not the case, and I'm kind of surprised they didn't put more emphasis on checking that, considering that Shaiko has very commonly gone for that garage push to start the rounds off for himself personally. And again, doubly so on garage takes, so that one should
I'm just very surprised that they were so quick to try and drop that with really no info base going on. Like, they saw that the door was open and all that kind of stuff, and they're like, oh, I guess they're just not there. And, like, I understand trying to get the refrag, but also at the same time, you could have just played the neutral move and wasted more time upstairs, maybe make a rotation over to white. You know, there's so many different options there, minus trying to just immediately try and frag out Shaiko, especially when he has that ARX, dude. That gun does so much damn damage.
In fact, they literally killed Shaiko in that position a few rounds prior, if I remember correctly, so should have certainly had the intel. Maybe they thought they could just directly challenge him, but certainly not the case. Did not seem to have the right read on it as they drop down, as obviously the first player goes down outright, and the second one gives his challenge over to try and trade unsuccessfully. Quick control here for Like a Fact as he moves himself in towards T3 with the Gara hook and swings downwards after that one. Already going to pop open the backside of Meeting. Philippox, in the meanwhile, also being challenged from his position on the inside here, but a little bit more passively so by the members of BDS, just because they don't want to get within.
There it is. Sorry, I was confused about the window. I was like, when's the window coming in? Like,
yeah.
Anyways.
That'll be popped open now, and that should lock Philippox into that position over by Showers here. Potentially force him to rotate back a bit prematurely as well here if he wants to go all the way over towards Kitchen. And
Lems and KZ exist in like the same zip code right now. Neither one of them know though. KZ's actually going to traverse upstairs. Brede, camera, find it. There we go. All right, get rid of that. I'll skirt back upstairs, back to where the actual defensive site is. Looks like Lems is a little worried about Armory. Nice little cheeky angle here in case anybody does want to try and rotate in. They still have plenty of time to try and dissect this site. Renshiro taking a lot of damage, but he really needs to stay alive, John. And Dokkaebi call is worth its weight in gold, especially the later we get into this round.
Lems with the swing and the shot to knock out Philippox. He'd been locked in there for some time. Finally able to succeed in locking in the kill.
0-6 now as well from his previous game where he was 18-7.
And that was a big problem I was talking about earlier. Is, again, some of these big stars, which have been present for the first two maps, are struggling hugely here in map number 3. Just not doing it as a consistent task here for these guys to step up to the plate. The goodness is, like I said before, others are answering the challenge to some extent, mainly JV92 right now. They're going to need to keep doing so. Keep W7M in at least contention to win the series here. Nice shots from Like a Fag as he pops open the window. Just has his pick of the litter when it comes to targets there, as he has another one to his hard right as well. That player has tucked away for the time being, so he's going to be relatively safe. That will limit any of the potential aggression that could come out from Like a Fag. But speaking of aggression, Nade goes directly into the face of one of the members of BDS, unsuccessfully takes the duel. Like a Fag did end up going down, but
nitro.
Not fully knocked out just yet. Shaiko as well with the kill against KZ, and the plant almost confirmed. Indeed, Herds will be the last to fall down on a double cross. It'll be another round from BDS.
The French powerhouse continues to propel themselves forward. It's going to be a 4-2 half on the offensive side of Oregon, and now things get deadly for W7M. They've consumed the poison. I got to try and get this anti-venom, John, this figured out for themselves, see if they can potentially heal this wound that they have created. It is definitely festering. BDS really just depends on how they get things started here on this defensive end. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a basement defense, and we're able to kind of cheat and get ahead of you guys here on the broadcast. So I can tell you, it is. We are indeed downstairs.
Good news for W7M once again, if things do go for the worst, is that this is, of course, still an upper bracket qualification game, so they are going to have that one additional best of 3 later today. Important to note here, to try and qualify. That'll be the bigger issue for them, is the fact they're going to have to play a second best of 3 here on the same day. To see if they'll be up to the challenge. And of course, we'll have to see if that ends up going that direction in the first place. Still quite a few rounds needed for BDS to be able to pick up the overall map win, but now they're on the defensive side of Oregon with a lead and a 2-round one at that. It's quite a nice base to build up for, especially if they lock in their initial site choice down in the basement.
Attack.
Okay.
Locate and defuse a bomb.
Well, let's walk through this slow. See what W7M can accomplish. They brought the Capital, they've got the Hatch Queen, all soft destruction, as well as JV92 just to back things up and make sure that these hatches do get open in case things go awry. Decent amount of stuns, as well as some frag grenades here. Like the decisions that have been made on W7M's roster for the operator lineup. As for BDS, you can definitely say the same. This is pretty routine when it comes to a basement defense. This is practically everything you could ever ask for when it comes to a lineup like this, especially with that Wamai working his way in. I've been seeing quite a few teams kind of work their way from bringing Jaeger and Wamai, and it seems like every single time they do that, somebody gets blown up on site with a frag grenade. Wouldn't you know, John? It's so crazy. It's almost like they make an operator for that or something. But fortunately enough, BDS will bring it this time around, and it's due to that harsh execute utility that you usually see brought on this basement site. And will definitely assist at least a tad bit when it comes down to some of this utility, but I mean, W7M have so many stuns to try and burn out these Wamai discs.
KZ will back up from that freezer angle for the time being. Does not want to overextend yet again here. Some of the same mistakes we'd seen done by W7M previously, where they pushed themselves a bit too far to the map, and then unfortunately end up getting pushed into a fight that they're not really prepared for. That leads to a deficit, and the domino effect takes over from that point forward. So not falling victim to that. It's a slow windup yet again here for our attackers now. They look to try and maintain this basement positioning. A few of those nades getting gobbled up as they try to work their way down towards it, but Philippok's going to try to lead the charge here. It's been a rough game so far for Philippok. Maybe now on the attacking side is going to be up for changing things in the other direction. Not a great start though. Herds gets caught early on here trying to play around that E-hatch, I do believe. Lycafac will take a lot of damage in response to it, but he's still alive and can now play a very passive position on site. Maintain his life force for a linear battle here. W7M and now try to work this from a deficit. Still plenty of time for them to work it, but not going to be too confident of a play here. The deficit there now sustaining all the smokes. Don't even work out the way they need them to as well. 2, 3 more kills. Full 4 of them go onto the board, and a flawless hold from BDS to start out the second half and double down on the lead they've already sustained from the first half. 5-2 is now the lead for them, with just 2 rounds to go to end the series.
You never see a one-way smoke when it comes to Siege, just because of how our smoke works in comparison to other games. But with Capital's arrow and the way that it works, and the fact that you can smack the top end of walls and stuff, the smoke will essentially float. It works out on the pillar position, John, and he shoots the guy right through the smoke. All he has to do is see his feet. A little Counter-Strike callback right there. Fantastic stuff. As W7M quickly made into mincemeat by BDS. There it is yet again. A perfect smoke position. Manshiro able to play the bottom of that and catch the player dropping down into the hatch. That smoke was practically useless. And BDS bodied W7M on every single entry point.
Just outright denied completely on the entry game there. You can see the hype that's built up from BDS and pulling off a round like that. This is a stark contrast to what we had in maps 1 and 2, where W7M were just constantly bullying out early positions from BDS and pulling off near flawless executes every single time. It was literally the opposite, especially if we look back over to Chalet, and now it's completely flipped. It's BDS maintaining full control. And that's a bad sign for W7M and their potential outcome of this series here. Let's see if they can rebound, as they just took that tactical pause, of course, for themselves. Really, at the final moment, they could have taken it here, too. They need to really spin this around and do so very quickly. One more round, BDS surely should be able to lock in their 7. Potentially 5 rounds, or rather 4 rounds in a row to try and lock it in, assuming they get this one.
And W7M need to get Nick DeVries out the car, man. Put Danny Rick in there. Little F1 meme for you guys at home. There you go. You're welcome. I know Anne's happy about that one when she was watching. But yeah, W7M need to find their honey badger for sure. Get things going for themselves. That offense was a shell of what we expect out of W7M, especially from what we've been seeing across these last 2 days. They have been disgusting. But as we saw from BDS yesterday up against Oxygen, and I mean, honestly, something I'd like to touch on as well. I genuinely think that BDS kind of got blessed with the way that Oxygen was playing yesterday, because they were playing pretty tragically. It was not going very well for them. They were not happy with the way they were playing, and it made it a very, very easy game for BDS, which made it to where the very first game that they played, or rather first map they played against W7M, it was just so very difficult because it was like a whole different world.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Oxygen playing kind of directly into the hands of BDS, it seemed, in a lot of those rounds yesterday. But I think they realized that they're going to be in better shape for the rematch they may get later in the tournament. W7M off to a better start as well here on round number 8. They find a nice kill to start things out against CYCLOPS. Eliminates that long-range shot that could have come in, of course, on the Mark 5. And no other aggression, of course, to come out from CYCLOPS because of that as well. Still a few wrinkles to deal with, though, such as those Geschmack entry points that they're going to have to get past that BDS has set up. BDS also playing on the shotgun Ella as well, so more than likely going to be a pretty brutal angle set up for BDS to play into here at the W7M. We're going to have to try and find a way past. Nade out for Philippe Fox, but I think it's based on old info, unfortunately, so it's not going to do any damage.
Very unfortunate. He does still have one frag grenade, though, so they can utilize that a little bit later on down the line as he meets his demise. You have quite a few drones still up and about too, so should be able to at least suss out EFAC. He's done so much damage to Herds. He's going to try and swing back into it, but the teammate, he's already there, and they'll finally be able to claim him. But not before Lems takes down JV92.
He wanted that kill against Herds so bad after he saw that silencer poke out. He's like, I know he's in this corner, but just couldn't get the little angle needed on the shotgun there, unfortunately. Gives himself away to Herds instead. And flips that back the other way. So 4v3 advantage for W7M now. BDS, Ranchero, and Lem are going to try to hold the line for BDS. Lock in round number 6 if they can pull off the comeback here. Still over a minute to go, though. There's a lot of time for W7M to potentially burn out and still use to gather additional intel before they commit themselves to the inside of this side as well. KZ with a big swing. Unfortunately, right into the few members of BDS, and a bit of an absent-minded toss there on the Selma. Does not shoot out the ADS directly in front of him. So we'll burn that down for the time being.
Oh, no,
once again, goes directly into the angle for Lems. Gives him a shot. Good follow-through from Philippe Pox, though. Does not give Lems time to recover. Philippe Pox does the same thing again, but has to lose Herds in order to pick it up. Ranchero now down. The 2v1, that's the good news here for W7Ms. They do have that extra players. They can afford to do this right now. BDS sits alone here, finally rotating back up, but here's the problem. Like I said before, it's shotgun Ella, so does not have the range realistically needed to take this fight and stop the plant from going down on the ground. Attempt to rush back in. The site here now. Okay, all right, maybe he doesn't need that rifle after all. Instant headshot on the first one. Now he can close the gap. Try to use the shot. There we go! The spam from the FO12 shuts down Nade, and it's a brilliant retake from BDS to lock in map and match point.
All right, whichever one of y'all put extended barrel on the Evo 12, that was so wrong. That was just so foul. He actually one-shot him, John. As soon as he peeked that door with that hipfire, he downed him immediately with the first shotgun shell.
You gotta empty it, though.
I mean, yeah. It's so automatic. Just keep going, baby, right? Listen, I'm going to keep shooting until you die or it stops working. I mean, like, that's tick, tick, tick. Oh, better reload, you know?
So a round that finally seemed like W7M were locking in some proficient power on their entries. We were only the second attacking round, but it was looking a lot better than what we saw in the basement, but not enough with that Ella clutch potential. Coming back in from BDS to save the day here. Still keep BDS in dominant control. They have 4 attempts to end this in regulation. W7M now needs to win 4 in a row just to trigger OT.
Yeah, BDS has always had that Michael Jordan clutch gene. He's the one you want taking the shot at the end of the game. Almost every single time. The pressure never gets to him, and you can just see the faces of all of his teammates like, oh my God, you just did that. That's incredible. Look at the relief on Ranchero's face, and not so much for W7M.
Yeah, W7M just angry it happened. Unfortunately, nothing you can do about it, though. Forget about it for now. Worry about it in the post-game, as you still have potentially 4 more rounds at least to play out here for W7M to keep their upper bracket qualification hopes alive. If not, they're going to be going down into that lower bracket position. We'll have to play in the final match, I believe, a little bit later on today. Let's get into it here. BDS not going to give us too much of a surprise again when it comes to their operator lines. It's been a pretty straightforward game for both the teams when it comes to the defensive compositions. Backing compositions, you can say very much the same thing about them, although we're getting that sprinkle, of course, of the guard hook every once in a while. Even that, though, has become kind of an expected thing to some extent for some teams here on Oregon, so it's more, not a huge amount of surprises showing up there. But speaking of surprise, it's a quick hop into the dorms here for at least one member of W7M. Caught out, but Philippe Pox is able to capture a trade in the chaos of that. Knocks out CYCLOPS, but it's at the cost of KZ. So unfortunately, W7M not making a huge amount of progress here. Like, in fact, playing on the bottom of the white stairs, could have himself another duel against that white stairs window position. He's holding it back for now. BDS as well, looking to try and capture at least one player with this Nitro. Opposition, unfortunately, some minimal damage will be done.
Trying to go for the audio play. All it does is create more verticality for W7M. More than likely be able to use back onto BDS when they're starting to set up for their execution. But who says we even get to that bridge? Gotta get up the road first. W7M have had trouble with just that. BDS have time and time again been able to take it to them. Closest opportunity for their offense was that last round where BDS was able to nip it in the bud. Now, W7M looking to build up yet another opportunity for themselves, and they'll take down a Lems. It's left up to the final 3 on BDS.
Stun grenade.
W7M waiting this one out nice and patiently here. They know they've approached this properly here, but at the same time, they know they've got a good chance to close it down, given that this is the tertiary site for BDS. Plant position has already been maintained as well. Nade going for it. It's all about the OBJ at this point, but Nade very much on an island. He's almost certainly going to die moving out from this position too, so he just stays on top of the case and is able to survive at least one player pushing him. Like, in fact, goes down. Renshiro does trade out for JV92, and now Nade, the planter, falls as well. The good news is, though, both the remaining W7M players have a top-down overwatch on this plant position, so it's going to be nigh impossible for BDS to retake it, even given the kills they just found for themselves a few seconds prior. That's why BDS rotates back up here. The drone's already going to preface his rotate, however, so they know he's coming. I believe the second player just got hit by an impact. They know that he's rotating as well. One player on the inside of Dorm just falls back downstairs as a clean pickup. Of course, we'll go 1 for 1 from Herd. That's all right here, given that now we can see BDS has to stick. He may have gotten onto it just in time, but if he hops off it, that's it. That's the round over. So a quick shot from Philippox here. Locks in the first out of 4 needed for W7M to come back.
All right, well, they at least got one on the board here on the offensive side. I don't want to start singing their praises just yet because, like I was saying, we have a long time ahead of us here for them to try and build this back up. But I mean, it doesn't mean it can't be done. I mean, we've seen BDS force things to OT and then end up taking a map. Be the same thing here for W7M as they are looking to try and stay in the winning side of this tournament.
Back to mainstay sites, however, for BDS. That's going to be the big issue now, of course, is W7M win this one. BDS are spread out thinly from the very beginning of this round just by the nature of the fact they're playing on the inside of Kitchen. And that created a much more palatable environment for W7M in the opening few moments just because you had players kind of off on their lonesome for BDS. BDS still very closely trading it, even given that, though, it was mainly just that proper positioning that W7M played into that allowed them to win things out here, is that it was just far too difficult of a clutch to work given the amount of rotation BDS had to pull off just to find the remaining members of W7M there in the post play. Full repick is going to come through here as well for W7. You guys can't spot that as we're still at a game, but what we had initially is not what we're going to have. As you can see it here now, every single member of the team is switching away, and it's not even like we're switching roles either. Every single operator has changed up for this basement attack. So let's see if it's going to yield results once again for W7M.
Well, 15 seconds in here into this one. W7M, this top floor. Such a full clear coming through here. Not too much of a roam game happening from BDS, though, from what we initially saw. Looks like we do have some camera work, obviously, happening around the building as we're trying to see where this clear is coming from. Friends will break up some of the boards here. KZ, actually, be perfectly fine. Is there for just a split second, thought we were on a defensive pop coming up that main stairs. I was like, oh, this might be a problem. But nope, everything okay. W7M actually have full control of the top 2 floors. BDS have chosen to turtle downstairs, which is, I mean, you referenced this earlier, probably the smartest thing that you can do when it comes to this site. Same thing with the bank setup we were talking about actually with that that motion. But here on Oregon, you can say the exact same thing. This basement setup is so very potent, especially when you just keep all your bodies down low with solid utility, and that's exactly what BDS has done here.
So as W7M once again look to try and lock in next of the 3 rounds needed. Bring things back under their own control. It's heavy emphasis on the drone play here in the middle round, just to try and see exactly what type of defensive lineup our members of BDS have gone for. They've got a good idea of it now. They're starting to line up to begin posturing for aggression, mainly with that Glaz currently being played by KZ, establishing the cross from the inside of Library.
He knocked out the Warden goggles.
Yep, and there we go. The Warden's been pushed back here. KZ has free reign to spot into this. As soon as he stops moving, of course, he can't see through it when he is mobile. But no! The collapse from Alems and BDS to shut down both the players pushing in from Laundry. It's down to a 4v2, 4v1. And that is going to be it, ladies and gentlemen. BDS lock down the series after 3 very long maps, and they will qualify through to our playoff stage.
Congratulations to BDS, but they're not done just yet. Still a lot of siege to be